Oh, it's good to see you, Joy.
It's great to be here.
20 years of Axe Trust, that's a long time.
Yeah, like most of our working life.
Yeah, almost all of it, I think. So I'm a yellow belly. I was born in Lincoln, but you came here to university, and I was just really curious about why it is that made you think to set up Axe in the first place.
Yeah, I really love Lincoln. It's a brilliant city, and I felt really at home as soon as I got here.
Yeah.
Especially being part of the church community. My first few years of working, we were working in the voluntary sector with lots of different charities, seeing the incredible generosity of people in the city and them getting involved. But I also love our church and just had this sense of what would it look like to add the strength of our church into the mix. That there's loads of amazing people who could be involved in doing acts of service and kindness and generosity and compassion to the city. And so I suppose that was the motivation, really.
That's amazing. When you arrived, what was it that made you fall in love with the place, and what is it that you thought this is the difference we could make?
So it's definitely about relationships and the kind of connection and community that I was part of, and wanting to enable lots of other people within my community, my relationship sphere, I suppose, for them to bring their contribution to the city, and also for maybe people who don't have as many strong relationships, just to be able to facilitate that. Like, friendship is really important. And just to enable that to happen a bit more.
I wonder whether it would be fun to reminisce some of those early days. So I've been rummaging around in the office and found some interesting things from 20 years ago.
Wow.
So I thought maybe we could go inside and have a look.
Yeah, great.
All right, let's do it. Right, are you ready for this, Joy?
Right.
I found a few things from back in the day, and I thought it'd be quite fun to go through it and see if you remember any of this from when Axe was first set up. So let's have a look. So the first one is this, which is the letter. This is 12th of September 2006. This is 20 years ago, where it says, "I'm pleased to report the incorporation of the above, which is Axe Trust," and it's basically the letter that was received to say, "You are now an actual company."
Yeah,
do you remember this?
So Graham Backhouse, I do remember. Yeah.
So who was Graham?
Graham was my first line manager, and actually he was totally brilliant. I really appreciated working with him, and he was our company secretary, I think, to start with. Yeah.
First company secretary, yeah. So this must have been a big moment then. Axe became real.
We were like, we're a company.
Amazing. And then this is similar. So this is later. This is July 2007. And this letter says, "I'm writing to confirm that the charity named above has been entered into the central register of charities with effect from the date of this letter." So 3rd of July 2007, Axe was already a company, and now it had charitable status.
So this took ages to come.
Oh.
It felt like when it actually came, we were like, oh, thank you. It's here now. 1119911.
That's it. 1119911. It's a good number, isn't it?
It's a good number, yeah.
So why did it take so long to come through?
Oh, I think that's just charity commission application
Process.
Yeah, we sat with the solicitors. We were trying to work out what our governing documents should look like, what would help us do everything we want to do.
Yeah.
It just took ages, yeah.
So what did it mean then to have charitable status?
It just meant that we were proper. I think maybe some organisations or funders were a bit suspicious of churches. So it just meant that we, as an organisation, we were separate from a live church or New Life at the time, and we could apply for grants to do the things that we really wanted to do. So it gave us all of the options that we needed. And we could also claim gift aid as well, which was really good.
Ah, yeah, of course. So this is a fun one. So this is a project flyer for one of the very first Axe projects, SNAP, Special Needs and Parents. And as you can see, amazing graphic designs.
It's quite basic, isn't it? Oh, yeah. I mean, Dawn's still going. Like, what a hero. She's absolutely still serving the city.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But what I really love is on the back, there is also what looks like a to-do list from 20 years ago.
Yeah, gosh. Funding for projects, salary. West Parade. That was because we were looking at maybe taking on West Parade Methodist Church as a community centre.
Oh, right.
So obviously that's like a headline for CAP, initial concerns.
Well, I saw this and I thought, CAP, initial concerns.
That's Simon.
Now I wondered whether the initial concern was me because I was the person who employed to do CAP.
Oh, wow.
So remind us who CAP is.
So CAP is Christians Against Poverty, and it was it was our first new project. So when we started Acts, we brought 4 of the projects from the church into the charity. So Amigos, Chatterbox, Toddle In and Snap. And then Energize was also something that started at exactly the same time that Acts started. And then CAP was our first kind of external partnership that we had to do debt advice. And you were our first ever CAP Centre manager.
Yeah, that's right. And that was in September. So shortly after this letter, when you became a company, I think it was the very next week or something that I joined.
Yeah.
I remember it well. And Energize was the youth work, and that was with Dan.
Yeah. So Dan was employed before I was, actually. So he was like the pioneer of Acts, but really in the youth work department. So doing some amazing stuff on Sudbrook Drive in the Ermine.
Yeah, I love it. But I love how on top of your to-do list is funding for projects and salary. It's almost like, right, what do I need to do? Well, I need to get some money in. And cash flow being the second one as well.
And develop existing projects.
Yeah, so fantastic. I thought this was interesting as well because this was a letter from the MP. This would have been way back 20 years ago as well, where you had invited him to come to Amigos. So what was Amigos?
Amigos was our homeless project. It was a meal that ran on a Monday night for people in the city who are vulnerably housed or just needed friendship. And they'd just come for dinner, and then people from the church would support them in lots of different ways. So Carl, I don't remember Carl coming, so he'd certainly quite like to come again. But yeah, that's
not a memorable visit then.
No, I spent quite a bit of time with Carl McCartney, but that must have been one of the first ones that.
Yeah, certainly a long time ago. So this is. And looking at the date, I think this is the very first board meeting for Acts. So this is the meeting minutes, Thursday, September the 21st, 2006. That's obviously very soon after you became a company. And you've got your very first agenda. So what?
I have no idea what we're going to find in here.
Well, so actually, when you look at the notes, it's really interesting because it's got, first of all, Community Development Manager, which I think was you.
Yes.
That was your job title. Update for the board. And then you've listed all the current projects.
Yeah.
And as you said earlier, Amigos, Chatterbox, Toddlin, Snap. And not a lot of people know this, but if you look at the names, Amigos, Chatterbox, Toddlin, and Snap, the first letter spell Acts.
Brilliant.
So that's where the name came from.
Such a good name. Everyone thinks it's like all about acts of service or the Acts book in the Bible, but it's actually just a basic acronym.
Just an acronym of those first 4 projects. So you didn't think when Energize and CAP came along to then extend the name to like ActSec? Yeah.
No, I don't think we did.
So that's cool. And then here I am, CAP. It's got Simon started his CAP training in Bradford on September 13th.
Wow. What was this date? Hang on, 21st. Wow.
Yeah. So I started on the 13th. So this is fun because this is actually May 2006. This is before we were even a company. So this has been those early days when you were preparing and getting ready for Acts. And what I love about this is it says, Anton has designed us an Acts logo. And there it is.
That was, I think, was in post on the 1st of April. So this would be like my first month.
So that you were thinking, the first thing I'll do is create a logo.
Great,
for Acts.
yeah. And a website.
So we don't use this logo anymore,
No.
but these links we still do. And if you walk past our community grocery, you see these links nice and big on the wall. So
guys, good logo that. I really like it. Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So there's a few things here which I quite like because they're just like volunteer vacancies for when you were trying to recruit people to join. So we've got our CAP support worker. So they would be working with me. Snap, we talked about Snap earlier, children's worker, an Amigos team member, the homeless project, and Globe Cafe, if you remember that.
Yeah, Globe Cafe was great, actually. That was for international students coming to the city to welcome them.
Yeah, Paul and Jane Arnold, I think. Remember.
So good, yeah.
And we don't run this anymore, but we do still run International Welcome Cafe for refugees and other people coming
Yeah.
to the city where they can learn English. Acts prayer support. So prayer's always been an important part of Acts as well.
Wow. Do you know, I'm actually thinking I'll do some work.
You did. You did.
We did some work.
You
But it's
recruited
like,
a team.
back then it was just, you had to do everything. So like, we didn't really have a wider team. So it's like jack of all trades. Yeah.
Because I suppose now the team is almost 30 staff
Yeah.
and around 300 volunteers. But
Yeah.
of course, back then, this is you on your own or with one or two
Yeah.
others thinking, right, I need to build a team here.
Yeah.
So volunteering is at the heart of it, isn't it? So why was that the route to go?
Well, I think it's about our original desire was to mobilize people from the church. So we wanted, you can't pay everyone, but also I just think there's something really important about when a volunteer engages with an individual, they're like a regular person, part of their community. It's not their job, it's not their profession. They're not doing it because they're paid. They're doing it because they want to help. I just think there's something really powerful about that, like citizens together, supporting each other.
I love that. And we've got, like I say, 300 volunteers today from local churches and charities who are getting involved with the work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
So we're fast forwarding a bit now.
Okay.
This is back in the day. And as you know, back in 2022, we got the keys to Beaumont Manor, which is the home of Acts now, where we have our community grocery on the ground floor and our team work in that building. And I found this as well, which is quite cool, because here from Gelder, who did the work, we have sort of plans for what the building could look like. So come through the lobby here, got the Alive Cafe here, the grocery over here. And this was an amazing moment, I think, for Acts, because we'd had last strategy, which we called our 2020 vision, although it ended up getting extended because something else happened in 2020. Yeah. But our vision was to have this amazing facility where a lot of the projects we were running could be housed together. We could be building community, running courses, giving people access to cheap food, all from one place. And it was always a big vision. Almost felt a bit out of reach, a step of faith.
Sure.
But we really believed this was what God wanted Acts to be doing. And we really sought different opportunities, buildings and funding. But eventually we got the keys and opened the doors, I think, February 2023. So it's quite a big moment.
Yeah, amazing. I actually love, it's not on here, but I love that we've named some of our rooms after some amazing people that served on the Acts team, but sadly passed away. And so it's really good just to remember them and some of the hard work that they did.
Yeah, that's right. People like Sipa Radza, who was our first Restore manager.
Jean Harbertson,
the eldest deck coach with cap in the whole country. Amazing. And Joe Jackson, who came through our projects and ended up becoming one of our best volunteers.
So good.
So it was a fun trip down memory lane.
It's really nostalgic, but it also only felt like 2 minutes ago. I can't believe it's 20 years.
20 years, 2 minutes.
I love being part of a team. I mean, it's when you get involved, you realise how many people it takes to make the operation work. I'm one of the team members like everyone else. Personally, I get a lot out of it. I think, great food bank today, and meet all my friends and colleagues. And when I sort of retired, I wanted to fill my time, and thought of Kevin as one of the ways to do that and to get involved with the whole food bank process. So that's sort of how I got into it, if you like. I can see it's making a lot of difference to a lot of people. When I go to and collect food from places, the big supermarkets where people put food in the baskets, people are endlessly generous. And it's just a heartwarming thing that people care, and there's a good system. So you'd like to think that people that really need it do get the food.
I work as a care assistant in a care home at Skellington. But when I had the surgery, I was almost falling into depression because my kids will go to school, my husband will go to work, and I'm lonely at home. So I need a community to interact. I met Kemi in the library and she gave me the handbill. I said, what do we have to cook? She said, don't worry, you just come around. And when I got there, I was like, okay, let me wait and see. And every meal is so interesting, so delicious. Then when you get home, you have to practicalize what you have learned. And that means taking it back to my family, My children were like, Mom, you've not cooked this before. What happened? I said, don't worry. Next week, Tuesday, I have something else for you. So that was when I came in. Then I found out there are other courses like the money management. And again, when I checked the grocery, cheapest price for items. I've learned a lot of things from Trust. How do I give back? Then I have to volunteer myself for 2 hours. And I'm happy doing that because I've seen myself as part of the team. I'm so happy because I'm fulfilling my dreams, my passion to live in a country which is not my home country, but to be happy that I'm living here. To be sincere, I want to say a very big thank you because Actress is doing a very good job.
For me, it was going back to the beginning of COVID, really. I was looking after my mum and was quite poorly myself. So I ended up living in a flat, and it was quite isolating. Didn't really have many friends. Depression was really bad at the time, lots of suicidal thoughts. I came across a poster that said Nightlight Cafe, which was just around the corner from the flat that I was living in. I really didn't know anything about it or what it was going to offer. In my circumstances of just go along and see, because things couldn't get any worse than what they were. It was the first positive step that I made, and it was probably the best step that I made. I do the volunteering now at the Nightlight Cafes, which I get an enormous sense of achievement from that, because I do understand where people are. I do, understand how they're feeling. So it's having lived through all of that, I think, being able to give some of that back to people that are actually in that need or in that situation at that time, I find is a big privilege. And hopefully that's what I'm there for, is to help somebody else not go, hopefully not as deep into that as I went. And that's basically what the Nightlight volunteers did for me. They never judged, and I would encourage anybody to go that's struggling mentally, because it's the best place to be.
We talked a little bit earlier about vision, 2020 vision, but we're beyond that now, and we're now thinking about the future. And 20 years for you, and you're now obviously now busy with your role at the church, and so stepping down from being the chair. But as you kind of are leaving from ACTS, what's your hopes for the future for ACTS and what it can achieve?
Well, just looking at all of that, it really stands out to me how strategic ACTS has become in comparison to where we were in the early days, and how we're starting to leverage partnerships across the city and the county, how we're working not just with one local church, but lots and lots of charities and other agencies who have share our ambition for a better Lincoln. And so my hope would be that it would go broad and also deep, and that we would continue to see people's lives change and people empowered to support themselves, and that our city and county would flourish more because of the contribution of the church and our key partners.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think for me, that fight against poverty, we're working across the whole Lincolnshire, and our understanding of poverty goes beyond just the material, but also thinking about how people are themselves. So, for example, I'll work with Nightlight Cafes, supporting people with their mental health in cafes right across the county of Lincolnshire is amazing, and Twilight Cafes with young people. I think about the work we do with food poverty and trying to reduce the need for people to have emergency food is also important. So I think for me, thinking about the future of ACTS, particularly over the next 4 or 5 years, is how do we keep fighting against poverty where we find it, empowering people to live their lives free from poverty. And crucially, I think that link between mental health and unemployment, people who have been struggling out of work for a long time, and what we can do to empower churches and charities to support those people too.
Yeah, that's one of the things I feel really proud of with ACTS, that we've not just given people stuff to help them, but we're actually really digging into the root causes and starting to do advocacy and work a bit more strategically. And so you've really brought that, and I just think really well done. It's amazing to see.
Yeah, amazing.
We've got quite a lot of work to do though. It's not over, is it?
There's a lot more to do, so I suppose we should go and get on with it.
Let's crack on.